you want to get more people the opportunity to be able to get paid in crypto. And again, we resonate with this a lot here at Digifox. So I'm curious, are there any kind of major initiatives that you're taking on right now to do that on the, private sector level as well as the public sector level?
Well, at the public sector level, I'm employee number 2 that actually has decided to get paid in Bitcoin. Mike Sarasti, who's our CIO, was employee number 1. So we want to make it available to all our employees. We have 4,500 employees, and like you said, you can take a portion, all, whatever you want, of your salary. I think in the general public, as we see the Bitcoin dividend be distributed, a part of the Bitcoin dividend idea, part of it is obviously it's actually distributing wealth, which will be interesting. But the second piece of it is it's a tool for teaching, right? People who are gonna be incentivized to open digital wallets, and we talked a little bit off the air about how do you identify someone from Miami? Like that's the first question that you have to ask, right? Is how do you even, like, where do you start? And actually, that was actually more difficult than I would have thought, right? Like the first thing, we don't issue like a Miami resident card, like, hey, you're in Miami. And so, it's hard to do it by mailings, because you have to get identity and things like that. So, we're probably going to go with registered voters, who are people who have opted in, and there's a process of identification and verification of identity there, and then allow them to create digital wallets. But when you give those people the Bitcoin that you're giving them, they're going to have they're going to learn a tremendous amount about Bitcoin. They're going to have to open a digital wallet. They're going to learn about how to access this market. So I think that will lead to greater adoption. And of course, we've talked about utility. You know what I mean? Look, I say this out of innocence in a way, and sometimes I get criticized on social media for it, but I would love to see a day where you walk into a 7-Eleven or a convenience store and you buy a Snickers with Satoshis, right? Like that's where we need to go, right? And once we go there, then I think it'll be easy for someone, to take their salary in Bitcoin, because now you have that connective mechanism, right, to be able to use the Bitcoin and not just store it and hold it as value, right? I think once that happens, when you make that technology ubiquitous, I have a thesis that it has the ability to do really, really transformational things, like create liberty in places where there's oppression, right? Because what happens is you disconnect the payment system and you disconnect the currency system from government. And I know that government oftentimes is skeptical of that disconnection and wants that control, but they've demonstrated over time that they don't use it responsibly, right? And unfortunately, and by the way, inflation is just one byproduct of it, but there's a lot worse byproducts, which is corruption, obviously controlling people and being able to control the money supply, stealing, like theft of the money supply, and oligarchical countries where they just suppress, wealth, and they make people very poor, and there's a one class of wealthy people. So I think that Bitcoin has a tremendous power to liberate people throughout the world, and that's what I hope it does ultimately.